It's time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, sexuational. This is what we call the Dynasty Podcast.
Welcome to the Dynasty Podcast. I'm Commissioner Eric Costanza.
Hi, Eric.
This is when, remember we talked about, now then you say, hi, I'm...
Oh, okay, let's try it again.
Okay.
Try again, I'm ready.
All right. Welcome to the Dynasty Podcast. I'm Commissioner Eric Costanza.
And I'm Bob Palucha.
We are...
Did I get it?
You did it.
Okay.
Good job.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes.
We're here at the Offseason Dynasty Podcast. Believe it or not, we do things here in the, even really the beginning of the offseason.
It's early.
It's really early, and it actually really sucks. I don't like the offseason.
No.
Here in the Dynasty, of course, we're a little bit different than all the other leagues. We do things during the offseason to try to, at least some of us do, to try to get us through it. But if you could summarize the offseason in maybe one sentence or even a word, however you want to do it, what would you tell the people?
Miserable.
I would agree to that. So we're in the beginning of the offseason, but we've already had, I guess, what I would like to refer to as, and I'm going to air quote here,
Okay.
unofficial or impromptu Dynasty board member meetings.
Mm-hmm.
We all kind of talked about a few things, and Bob, I'm going to let you just give the gist of it, but basically it's kind of the trim the fat theory here.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us what that means.
There was, like I said, the meetings, and we just talked about some of the things in the Dynasty that we thought didn't bring as much to the table, and in some cases, we even personally felt it was, the negatives outweighed the positives and stuff like that. So we thought just getting rid of some of this stuff and just making the stuff that we are keeping and that we have even better would overall make it a better experience for the entire league.
Excellent. We won't go into the nitty-gritty details of all those things. Some of you may already know. It will all be announced at a future date, likely in the edition 1 of the Riverdale Gazette. But it certainly makes sense, and we're kind of perfecting what we already got here. And if that consists of getting rid of a few things,
addition by subtraction, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And like you said, with the trim the fat concept, we're hoping that would then bring up participation for the things that we do.
Agreed.
So we will see how that works out. So we had the Super Bowl, predictions recently to determine the Dynasty 11 Draft Order. Brandon actually failed to submit picks, which is a little bit surprising considering he's, was one of the three
Good for me.
possible coaches to get the number 1 pick. Yes, good for you. You and Brian, essentially, only because you submitted picks, were automatically got the number 1 and number 2 picks. However, I didn't realize this until after the fact. You own Coach Tavalier's
I knew it the whole
second-round
time.
pick. That's correct, Bob? Okay, so you knew this.
Yes.
Do you remember how you got this?
Yes, it was a draft day trade.
For a bear?
No, we ended up swapping. I took his second, he took my third, and I think I gave him like my fourth or my fifth or something in last year's draft.
One of your many dealings during last year's draft.
Oh yeah.
Well, due to the fact that you own his second-round pick, we kind of determined there's really not a need for you and Brian to, be part of the Dynasty Trivia Contest that we do every year here. And Brian agreed to just simply take the second pick in the draft order.
Yep.
However, what would be a true Dynasty offseason without some sort of Dynasty Trivia Contest, right, Bob?
That's what I'm saying.
So, what we're gonna do here is Coach Keeney and Coach Johnny C actually tied in their Super Bowl predictions, and they're in the same tier. They're in tier 2, basically fighting for picks 5 and 6. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have their asses on the line in just a moment, and they're gonna be part of the Dynasty Trivia Contest, Bob. I actually reached out to Coach Zach Palucha, your brother, who is a Dynasty odds maker.
Yes.
There is a piece of paper. And I just spadoodled a little bit.
That's okay.
I didn't hit you, but I hit the computer. There's a piece of paper to your left.
Oh, I see it.
Would you grab it?
Yes.
This is actually what Zach has announced to be the official odds here between Coach Heaney and Coach Johnny C to determine, again, who gets the number 5 and number 6 pick in the D11 draft. I don't know. It's a little, in depth. Bob. do you want to kind of let us know what
I would like to read it. I think
Sure.
I think it's worth it.
Let's hear it.
Odds to win: Coach Heaney 60%, Coach Johnny C 40%, and Coach Zach Palucha was kind enough to tell us that Coach Heaney at 60% is actually the favorite, and Coach Johnny C at 40% is the underdog. Thank you for telling us that. I see how that works. Rationale. Having done a trivia contest last year, I know how challenging some of these questions are. I give the edge to Coach Chris Heaney for 2 reasons. Number 1, since he's had his kid in early October, he's become extremely lame and has no life. So he's had plenty of time to read the gazettes, the rules, Twitter, and listen to the podcast, etc. Second reason, I feel like Commissioner Scooper is going to try to appear as unbiased as possible, and with his brother in the contest, it is this odds maker's opinion that he will try, I lost my place. He will go too far in the opposite direction and make questions that will be extremely hard for Coach John to answer. Also, John doesn't own his first pick, so he probably doesn't give a fuck as usual. Interesting reasons.
Very interesting.
I think there's a potential.
I can see some of that shit happening. Yeah. That's why he's the odds maker.
We got some bonus odds here. 20% chance that after hearing a hard question, Coach Heaney will hear his son crying in the other room and miraculously come back with the correct answer.
Oh, that would be cheating.
90% chance that neither coach gets more than half the questions correct.
Yeah, I would agree to that. Yeah.
10% chance.
Can I put money on this? This is good shit.
I don't know. Someone would have to be the house. Phil. 10% chance that after Coach John finishes the contest, he lets his hair down, turns up his Slayer CD, and says, "Mom, I'm done with my segment."
John Clayton style.
Yes.
I like it.
100% chance that Coach Heaney will post a photo of his kid to Facebook with too many hashtags during the trivia contest. Hashtag posting photos is the wife's job. Hashtag stop using hashtags for your photos. 25% chance that Coach John hangs up on the hosts after the second question.
Good stuff. Now, do you agree with most of this?
I think some of these would be very interesting. Some of them are definitely possible, and I can see some of them happening. Some of them I think are a little silly. I like it.
Good work by Coach Zach as a Dynasty odds maker. Let's go ahead and get Coach Chris Heaney of VIP on Swole on the line. We're going to go ahead and start our Dynasty Trivia Contest. And it certainly may determine a lot of things here. It's certainly one of which would be the 5th slot in the Dynasty 11 Draft Order.
Hello?
Hey.
Coach Chris Heaney, hello?
How's it going?
Oh, just great, thank you. We are recording live here, and this is the Dynasty Podcast. If you haven't already figured that out, congratulations, because you are going to be partaking here with Coach Johnny C in the Dynasty Trivia Contest to determine the 5th pick in the D11 Draft. How do you feel?
This is exciting. Very exciting.
All right.
Better to be here.
Now, have you, is there a player or two that you really, I know it's a little early. I don't know if you've already started your research.
I've done a little bit of research, but, I don't want to give away any of my secrets to those guys in front of me. So
Right.
We'll see what happens.
Now, one of the more important things here before we actually commence this trivia contest is a little situation that occurred last year regarding Coach Zach Palucha. He may or may not have tinkered a little bit. Certainly didn't break any rules, but we initiated and implemented a rule during the off-season. Bub, you have the rule book up in front of you. Would you mind just making sure that Chris, and we'll do this for John as well, is aware of rule number 32 in the official Dynasty rulebook?
Rule number 32, the Zach Palucha is clearly cheating using charter to assist him to win the Dynasty Trivia Contest rule. During the Dynasty Trivia Contest to determine the number 1 pick in the draft, in this case number 5, coaches are not allowed to look up answers during the contest. If it is determined that a coach violates this rule, they are subject to a warning/violation and will be automatically given the last pick within his tier.
Coach Chris, do you understand this rule?
I do. Yes, I understand.
Please raise your right hand.
Hand is up.
I, Coach Chris Heaney,
I, Coach Chris Heaney,
solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I do not have the internet or any other spreadsheet or object, a gazette of any kind. That's a lot to repeat, but just say I do.
I do not have any cheating material.
There it is. I trust you. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and get this contest underway. Bub, hit the music. We got ourselves a 5-question contest here. I will begin with question number 1. Question number 1, Christopher. Which team do you have the lowest winning percentage against?
Oof. Think about this. I would have to say you, Riverdale Scoopers.
Blow, blow, blow. Sorry, Christopher. That is the wrong answer.
Yeah.
The correct answer is you are 0-2 against the Dynasty 10 champion, the Hong Kong Cavaliers. 0 for 1.
Question number 2. Since you, Coach Heaney, joined the Dynasty in D9, name the only 2 players who have been kept who are not a QB or running back.
I believe Des Bryant was kept this year. And prior to that, I mean, it has to be Calvin Johnson. I don't remember who it would have been, but...
That is correct. Both receivers kept by none other than Coach Phil Tamulus of the Pig Newtons.
Of course.
Impressive. 1 for 1. Question number 3. How many players tore their ACL in the 2013 NFL season? And keep in mind that whatever is the closest between you and Johnny C will get this correct.
This is the entire NFL?
The entire NFL, just... No, yes, in the regular season
ACLs.
and the postseason.
ACLs.
ACLs, how many of them got snipped? Not including Bubba Paluch's ACL, which he also snipped. But he's not in the NFL.
I'm going to say 14.
14 is your answer. Okay. I'm not going to tell you the answer. You're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait on it. Bob?
Question number 4. Name the 4 teams in the Dynasty who average 100 or more points per game.
Is this career or just this past year?
This is career.
Oh, I would be one of them.
That is correct.
I'm going to say Riverdale Scoopers.
That is correct.
I feel like just because of this year, Will of the Rockdale Senators has to be on there. Really?
If you don't remember, Will has sucked pretty much every year prior to this.
He put up 150 points every game this year.
But yeah.
That goes to show how he's been before this year.
So now, so I have a quick question. Now what happens?
No, now you can try to guess a fourth team. The best you can do is 3 out of 4.
Oh, I keep going?
You get one more guess. This will be your 4th guess.
Let's see.
Pressure's on. This could be
Make or break.
This could be a make or break decision. You never know what decision may win you a fucking title. I wouldn't know, but you never know. I'm sure Chris will be chiming in here.
I'm going to go with... Man.
We need an answer. Charter's slow tonight.
I'll go with... God, I don't know. Who else is up there?
You have 5 5 seconds to answer.
4, 3, 2.
I would go with Hinchclax.
I think he's close, but he is not
Top.
not one of them.
Yeah. Question number 5. Final question. And probably the most important. What movie did Brie Olson plug when her fine sexual ass appeared on the Dynasty Podcast?
Oh, man. Some sequel to a horror film. I have no idea what the name of it is, though.
Are you officially giving up on that question?
I mean, I already been like, yeah, I don't know what it is.
Okay. How did Chris do? Let's run through this here. He got
First question, Hong Kong Cavaliers, wrong.
Question number 2, he got correct. The keeper's question. Question number 3, the ACL. He said 14.
Yep.
We might want to mark that
Yes.
down.
What's the actual?
Should we tell him?
Yeah, I say we tell him.
Tell him.
62.
Holy shit.
You were close, though.
Yeah, give or take about 50.
Question number 4, you got 2 of 4 correct. And question number 5, you didn't get correct. So, not looking too good, but you never know. We're going to get Coach Johnny C on the line. Chris, thank you for participating, and good luck. Have a good rest of the off-season, and we will see if you win or not.
All right, looking forward to it.
Thank you. Now we are getting Coach Jonathan Michael Costanza on the line from the Rapist Organization. Hello?
Well,
Yes, as this Coach Johnny C. Hello?
Madeline?
hello?
Yes, is this Coach Johnny C? Are you there?
I feel.
Okay. This is the Scooper, along with Bubba, and you're about to participate in the Dynasty Trivia Contest. How do you feel tonight?
I was hungry, but I'm eating now.
Well, that's good. It's always,
What are you eating?
Yes,
Cape Cod potato chips.
That's good.
that is good. It's always good to eat things. Johnny C., this is an extremely important trivia contest that you're about to partake in. This certainly may determine many things, but for one thing, it's going to determine the number 5 and number 6 pick in the D11 Draft Order. How important is this to you right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the best, or the most?
Probably about 9 or 10.
I would agree. I was going to say definitely 10. I'm going to agree. Nonetheless, we will do it anyway. We just had Coach Heaney on the line. He didn't do too well. The door's wide open for you. Let's run down the rules. We got 5 questions for your ass. We had a situation occur last year with Charter, Zach Palucha. There was money missing off the drawer. My sister was knocked up. Coach Bub is going to tell you or remind you of a quick rule regarding what you cannot do. Bubba, what is the rule?
I'm going to paraphrase. Is that
okay?
okay?
Sure.
Rule number 32, Mr. Costanza, basically says you can't cheat when you do this. Is that understood?
I understand. I will not cheat.
You know what? You're a good guy.
He is a good guy.
Despite what they say, you actually are a good guy.
I agree. All right, well, let's do this. Let's start. Let's get it going. Question number 1. Jonathan, which team in the Dynasty do you have the lowest winning percentage against?
I'm gonna say Phil.
Wow. The correct answer, just like Mr. Heaney, is the Dynasty 10 champion, the Hong Kong Cavaliers. You are 1-4 with a 200% winning percentage against him. Sorry, incorrect. Question number 2.
Since Coach Heaney joined the Dynasty in D9, name the only 2 players who have been kept who are not a quarterback or running back. ding.
And?
What's that ridiculously loud sound that I'm hearing in the background?
It's the background music.
It sucks, okay? It sucks.
I can't
It's
turn it down.
concentrate.
We are having a lot of technical issues here.
Okay, Des Bryant and Calvin Johnson.
Just pulled it right out of his ass.
That is correct. Both kept by the infamous Phil Tamulus and the Pig Newtons.
That's your favorite team.
Yeah, he was great this year.
Question number 3. How many players snipped their ACL in the 2013 NFL season? and half of them were probably on your team.
Just the ACL?
Just the ACL, yes. Maybe they may have snipped like their
More.
PCL, but at least their ACL.
Oh man, I don't know. 8.
It was not 8. Sorry. That's your question. You
It's
go.
okay. I was gonna let you go with it. The correct answer, Coach, is actually 62.
Wow,
Yes.
that's a lot of torn ACL.
There was, yes. Question number 4. Name the 4 teams in the Dynasty who currently average 100 or more points per game in their career.
It's Scooper,
That is correct.
Andy Quack.
Wah, wah, wah.
But continue trying to guess the other
You get 2 more guesses.
2 more guesses.
Well, what's the point? I got the question wrong.
No, no.
Okay, fine. You can give up. That's
But
cool.
so far you're 1 for 2. You get 4 total guesses. So you try to beat how many Heaney got right.
Oh, okay.
So 2 more.
VIP on Swole
That is correct. 1 more.
and let's say me. Let's say me.
2 out of 4. Not bad. Not bad.
Final question, and I will let you know, Coach, that this is for all the marbles. What movie did Brie Olson plug when her fine, sweet ass appeared on the Dynasty Podcast?
She plugged. It was a non-pornographic film. She's moved on from that. I remember that. But I don't remember at all.
All right, Bob, let's tally it on up here. Both Chris and John did not get question number 1. They both nailed question number 2. Chris got closer to the ACL. They both went 2 for 4 in question number 4. They both got it wrong. Looks like we have ourselves a winner. Coach Chris Heaney has won the number 5 pick in the D11 draft. Coach Johnny C, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to settle for pick number 6. So that must be devastating news for you. How do you plan on recovering from that?
I think I'll be okay in 2015 since no one feels like offering me anything substantial or equal value to the one and only Drew Brees. So all those coaches can go fuck themselves, and let's see if you can actually get them in the draft. A bunch of fucking morons.
Okay.
I'm talking to you, by the way.
Oh, calling Bubba out.
I'll gladly select him in the draft with one of my first 3 picks.
Good. Waste the fucking draft pick. Oh, I'm glad. Whatever.
Well, okay then. Well, Coach, thank you very much for appearing here on the show, and you take care of yourself out there.
Right.
Well, there you have it. We got ourselves the final, Dynasty 11 Draft Order, Bub, has now been officially determined here. Number 1, of course, is you. Number 2, Soglo. Number 3, Brutal Deluxe. Number 4, Handy Quacks. Number 5, VIP on Swole. Number 6, The Rapists. Number 7, The Boston Loggers. Number 8, The Senators. Number 9, Pig Newtons. Number 10, Yellow Peril. Number 11, myself. And number 12, Hong Kong Cavaliers. And more importantly, this will all determine how we are all sitting next to each other, which is probably the more important part of this.
It's a very underrated part of the draft.
It very much is. So now we all know not only where you'll be drafting, but also where and who you'll be sitting near and with. There you have it.
You're going to be a football player when you grow up? Today is the best day of your life. Believe me. He might be the finest quarterback produced in the last 10 years. Philadelphia Eagles select Donovan McNabb.
He said, I'm the best decision this organization has ever made.
He's a man like that's all I need.
Fortunately for me, I didn't lose my life. Didn't lose my job. Football convinced me that life is a team game.
That's right. It's a game for men.
Rest of your life. Nobody can ever tell you that you didn't do it.
Was this the final game on the sideline for a great coach?
I want to thank you very much for making my day in the sun so memorable.
But the Dynasty Hall of Fame is where, what is the saying? Where heroes are remembered,
Heroes-
but legends never die? That's what it is, right?
thought
From
it
the
was-
Sandlot, right? Or is it the other way around? The legends.
No, it's definitely heroes get remembered,
Okay.
but legends never die. Follow your heart, kid. You'll never go wrong.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We've made some updates regarding the Hall of Fame. We're no longer enshrining coaches or teams.
Correct.
And the one that has already been enshrined, Coach Phil,
Kicked out.
out of here.
Forever.
Forever.
Another Sandlot reference.
We should live our lives via the Sandlot.
Who says we don't?
But we are going to continue enshrining events,
Events,
scandals, objects,
Things.
and we're doing this why, Bub? Because it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun, and one of the biggest fun aspects to it
Biggest fun aspects.
is what you and I are about to do, which is announce the candidates for what is Dynasty 8's Hall of Fame class, if you will. Let's go ahead. There's 6 nominees, and let's talk about them.
Okay.
And let's talk about maybe if we think they're worthy.
Okay.
Maybe you want to switch off. You
Yeah.
want to start? Want me to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
You
start.
start. Bub. Our friend Bub is going to start with nominee number 1.
Nominee number 1. On July 13th, Coach John welcomed the start of a new season with the following hate message email towards bitter-hated rival coach Matt Whiffen. And I'm quoting here. Let me take this opportunity to say good luck to all of you in the upcoming D8 season, except for, of course, Matt Whiffen, whom I hope is murdered by a group of underground hobos and his corpse is filleted by a meth head. Die, Matt, die.
Excellent. Very nicely done. Now, I think that is certainly.
Just keep it going.
Let's
Just keep it going.
I think it's certainly worthy of a candidacy. I kind of forgot that happened, and obviously bringing it back to my memory, it kind of rings a bell. I personally think it's funny, not necessarily important enough to be, Hall of Fame worthy, but certainly worthy enough to be on the ballot. Bub, what do you got?
I'll be honest with you, and this is no offense to anyone. I don't even remember that.
I kind of don't either, but it rings a bell. Like, I can see that happening, certainly. Nominee number 2. And this is you leave me with the long one, Bub.
That's why I picked one.
I see how you roll. All right, so days following a major knee surgery, barely able to walk and drugged up on Percocets, Coach Glenn Stacy, hobbled to the draft board and in the 5th round selected already drafted wide receiver Brandon Lloyd. Excuse me. The trigger-happy Dynasty coaches showed no remorse over the breaking of the guard dog ADD rule and opened an onslaught of over 200 Nerf bullets ranging from semi-automatic Nerf guns to bow and arrows to Nerf bazookas. Coach Johnny C., who was on the phone with Coach Jay Young at the time, who was drafting from California, calmly yet confidently stated the following into the phone when he recognized the green light for the Nerf attack, and I quote, "Jay Young, hold on a second, I have to shoot someone." Unquote. Coach Stacy was later heard saying, quote, "Now I know how the animals feel when I shoot them." The event was the largest nerve attack in Dynasty history, and rumor has it, initiated a series of events causing Glenn Stacy to quit the Dynasty the following season. Bob, what do you think?
I think this definitely has more of a chance than nominee number one. My personal opinion. I think the fact that it was the largest nerf attack in Dynasty history, whether that is documented or not,
Unofficially, I think.
definitely adds to its
It
aura,
sure,
if you will.
Sure, I agree with you. I have a little bit of a thing against not having like former Dynasty coaches in the Hall of Fame and things like that. And as a matter of fact, Bob, now that I think of it, I wanted to talk to you offline, but I'm going to bring it up right here.
Okay.
I think that we should remove all nameplates from the Dynasty Trophy of coaches who are not in the league anymore. Why have it on there?
I disagree.
We know that they won, but why? Like, who's going to see it? Them? No. Who cares? Why do we need to see it?
But it's a reflection of the history of the Dynasty.
Okay.
And I think it would look weird without it, to be honest with you.
So if it starts with like the Dynasty 2 and then jumps to like the Dynasty 6
I think
or
you
something.
got to leave it. It's just one of those things where you might not like it, but hey, they were the best team that year.
All right, well, we'll
do.
talk about it.
Okay.
And if you listeners out there, leaning one way or the other, feel free to let us know. Nominee number 3.
Oh, isn't this fitting that I get to read this one?
Oh, this is the good one.
Steve Smitch.
Mm-hmm.
One of the more common names in American history. High school teacher, Coach Bubba Palucha, that's
you.
me, manages to misspell Smith when drafting him round 7, which created rule number 21 in the rule book, the Bubba Palucha Steve Smitch rule.
This is to me the Ken Griffey Jr. on the submission.
It's got to be a slam dunk.
It's got to be like
Unanimous.
No questions asked. Complete, definite, absolute Hall of Fame should be in there, in my opinion.
Here's my take, and
Granted, you're
obviously it's about me, but for something to be in the Hall of Fame, it has to be remembered for years.
Exactly, we
years
all
to come.
remember.
Not only did we make a rule about it, but it is consistently brought up.
Yep.
At the previous couple drafts.
It's one of those things too. You don't want to overuse the joke too, and for me, it hasn't gotten to the point where it's overused. It may get to that point, but it's not yet.
Nope.
So.
I think it's a slam dunk.
I agree. Nominee number 4. Jeff Gard's failed attempt to implement a color-coded draft scheme to highlight which positions each drafted player plays. Coach Phil Tamula's immediate response to Coach Jeff during this asinine request summed up the rest of the league's thoughts perfectly when he said, and I quote, "Or Jeff, you could just no football," unquote.
You know what? I think this one has a sneaky chance of
kind of the dark horse.
potentially getting in.
I agree. The only thing is the fact that it involves Jeff, a prior coach. I have a problem with getting anyone in the Hall of Fame. It's not in the league anymore. But
I feel like it's one of those things that, and like I mentioned for the Steve Smith rule, is I think people still make there's at least one reference every draft to that, and someone's going to say, and I guarantee you in the next draft, someone will say, well, why don't we just color code them, and everyone will just kind of give a ribbing, and they'll go, oh, remember that?
Remember that idiot? Yeah.
So I think it has a chance. I don't know if it's definitely in or not, but it definitely has a chance.
Very good.
Nominee number 5. The greatest game in Dynasty history, Dynasty Bowl 8, between the Amber Alerts and Brutal Deluxe, which broke 4 Dynasty Bowl records and ended in a 159-159 tie.
It's a fucking amazing.
In which the Alerts won via bench points. Coach Brandon's son learned the F word.
For me, this is my. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, without you guys knowing the last nominee here yet. Steve Smitch, and the greatest game ever played here in the Dynasty Bowl 8. Those are going to be my 2 submissions. I'm going to think about possibly nominee number 4, the one we were just talking about with Jeff Gard and the color-coded system. Bob, what do you think about the Dynasty Bowl 8?
I think that's another borderline slam dunk.
Okay.
I think, for reasons that don't even have to be stated, but it also created the pick up all the quarterbacks in big games kind of thing, which really should have been happening anyway.
It should have been happening.
It was one of those things.
Some of us coaches that, you know.
It was just one of those things that said, oh, well, it's never going to come down to bench points in the championship, and then it did, and so everyone just panicked.
Right. And the thing is, it's not like John, picked up quarterbacks and won because of that. Like, they both kind of fucked up in a way, and I don't know if it was luck or whatever, but John obviously ended up winning via the bench points, which Brandon, I'm sure, hasn't forgotten. Neither has his son.
No.
Last nominee number 6. This is the syringe that Coach Johnny C used to inject himself with meth, A1 sauce, heroin, mataba, and diabetes, which was the key for his championship. This is the scene that we saw in, I think it was the first ever Dynasty Bowl preview show during Johnny C's Rocky IV montage, and then at one point he was injecting himself with all of these banned substances. So a silly little nominee here. Probably doesn't have.
And you know what? Ever since John yelled at me a little bit ago, I don't want to vote for anything involving him. I might not even vote for the greatest game ever played.
Oh, see what you did, Johnny C? See what you did?
We interrupt this broadcast to remind you that you can get all of the latest Dynasty updates by following the Riverdale Gazette on Twitter. The Riverdale Gazette Twitter page. Don't be left behind.
So, Bub, we were talking about which teams are all set with their keepers, and
yes.
I think almost all of them are. At least we think they are.
Right.
And I think we want to just kind of briefly, I think it'd be helpful and fun to talk about each team really quick.
Let's do it.
So let's start with the South Riverdale division. It's okay. What I'll do is I'll talk South, you talk North.
I guess.
Okay.
I'm more of a North guy, so
you are. I thought we'd flip it around a little bit, 69 it, if you will. The Hong Kong Cavaliers, our champion, believe it or not, those bastards. They unofficially already announced that they're keeping Peyton Manning. So,
makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense. I feel as if there may be something in the works.
I've heard.
I'm not sure for sure if that's going to happen or not, but it looks like they'll be at least keeping Peyton, and then we don't know what's happening from there. I don't think the bastard's going to tank, I'll tell you that much, but it may come to that eventually, depending on if he goes 1-4 or something like that.
Well, I've heard rumblings of a potential, draft day trade.
Draft day trade?
Yeah. I've heard rumblings.
I have as well. The Yellow Peril, they have LaShawn McCoy. They made that trade, during the season, and obviously going to keep McCoy. The guy's a stud, and he's probably a top 2, top 3 pick.
Top 2, yeah.
Pig Newtons, always a bit of a controversial team, especially for you, Bub.
Idiot.
So he made a trade with Coach Johnny C, which I got to be honest, I didn't see coming, but
No.
after talking to him, after thinking about it, it certainly makes sense. He made a trade for tight end Jimmy Graham. I thought he was going to keep Zach Stacy.
I thought as well.
But it would be a bit, I guess, not condescending. It would
counterintuitive, maybe.
It would not go against Phil's, recent beliefs of running backs not being as important in fantasy.
Right.
So it looks like we're going to have our first tight end keeper, which is interesting.
You know what would be fun?
What's that?
If the Saints didn't re-sign Graham and he went to, I don't know,
Oakland?
Miami or Oakland or something.
True.
I'm not going to knock on wood, Phil.
Then the Rockdalian Senators, he had a bunch of guys that he could have kept, and it looks like, he traded away some, and he's kind of left with Matt Forte, which is certainly, I think he's a top 5, top 6 pick.
I think they're saying top 3.
Top 3, wow, okay. Brutal Deluxe, he made a trade with myself. I hope to think that we all agree that I/Brandon kind of set the market with Jamal Charles, and kind of, then a bunch of trades went down from there. He's got Jamal Charles, so he's obviously probably going to keep him. And then the one team from the South that I'm not sure what he's doing is Soul Glow, Coach Brian Tavaleri. We were talking earlier, he has DeMarco Murray, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess that's a possibility. Not sure if he's really keeper potential. I mean, he's certainly a top
He's
pick,
a borderline, end of the first round type of guy in a no keeper draft.
So we've certainly seen players who have not as good a value as DeMarco get kept before. Philip Rivers and many others. Peyton Hillis. I think I just named the guard dogs again. But I have heard he also has been kind of, inquiring about other players, and as I'm sure he, we all sort of are.
Brian, if you're listening, Nick Foles available.
Ooh, there we go. So isn't Josh Gordon's a top 10 pick in some of these mocks. So Brian, if you want him, he's cheap. He's a cheap bastard. Bob, why don't you take the North?
The North. We have yourself, pretty much. Well, you have Aaron Rodgers. I think you're probably going to keep, but you just said Josh Gordon. You never know. Maybe you change your mind.
Trying to talk me into that?
Aaron Rodgers it is, huh? We have the Boston Loggers traded for Marshawn Lynch. 400 plus carries.
Is he a free agent?
I
think he is.
If he's not, he has one more year. Yeah,
pretty sure he's a free agent.
I've heard rumblings.
Be surprised if he goes somewhere though after what happened in the Super Bowl.
Haney Quacks traded for Eddie Lacy.
Yep.
That was one of the
Yep.
Senators players from before. Johnny C and the Rapists, they have Arian Foster. I would say that's the best chance, but you never know. He could go out and make a trade.
Right.
Coach Chris Heaney, VIP on Swole, recent winner of the 5th overall pick, has Le'Veon Bell, who a lot of experts are predicting to be a first-round type of guy.
Remember Dave, when we had Dave Richard on,
Yep.
he was very high on him last season, and I'm sure he probably will be again this season.
But
is he keeper potential, though? I guess he probably could be, right?
It
He's
depends.
got high upside, right?
It depends on your thought process, I guess.
Yeah.
He's one of the, do you want to take a chance on him, or would you rather trade for a
safer,
established
player?
And then myself, I will tell you right now.
Tell me.
I'm keeping either, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Well, it does slightly. Peterson or Calvin.
That's what I figured.
Then I will draft the other with
sure.
my first pick.
Gotcha. And then you have another pick right after
Correct.
that. And then another pick after that, and after that, and after that. Interesting. Okay. And speaking of you, Bub, you actually recently made that trade for the just mentioned Adrian Peterson and Calvin Johnson with Will, which stirred up a bit of controversy. On the message board. I saw Coach Johnny C, Chris Heaney, a couple people chimed in. Obviously, nothing against you.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I guess more in regards to what Coach DeYoung was really thinking. And I actually got a couple of official comments from Coach Heaney and Coach Whiffen. I'll start with Coach Heaney. Coach Heaney says of the Will trade, which again was Calvin and Peterson for an 8th round pick. He said, "This is horseshit. Coach Will is not the only one, but I feel most coaches in the league are too lazy to shop around when they receive a trade offer, and I think this has contributed to inequity among teams in the league." What do you think about that, Bob?
Inequity? I don't even know what that word means.
I gotta be honest, I'm not sure what that means either, but I think I understand the gist.
I understand
of what
the
he's saying.
gist of it, and I'm going to let you go ahead and read.
I'll read Matt's next, and then you can tell
Yes.
us what you think, because they both are right around the same lines
Yep.
here. Mr. Whiffen, Mr. Champion, says, "For the love of God, if you sent a simple league email, you would have gotten better picks." And that was obviously to Will.
And so here's and I'm actually going to, and again, maybe this is me being biased because I made the trade with him. I'm actually going to back up Will on this.
I spoke to Will earlier today.
Well, I had a conversation with another coach who I'm not going to talk about, my brother, and said at the point that Will made the trade with me, there was basically one other coach that even would need a keeper.
Well,
so,
we just went through them. There's a couple.
Well,
There's
besides
possibly
me, I guess there's
two or three,
maybe 3.
Brian, John, maybe Chris.
Yeah, but maybe they might might not.
But it's worth reaching out to them.
Well,
right?
so I think what happened is he kind of saw the
writing on the wall.
I was going to say the silver lining. It was not the silver lining. Saw the writing on the wall, realized there wasn't going to be a lot of guys left, and just said, okay. That's what I think. Yeah. And you said you talked to Will.
I agree with you, Bob. I agree with you. But I think that runs perfectly into what Coach Heaney's saying regarding laziness. If he, everything you just said is probably what happened, but take that. I mean, there's obviously no rush. We have, fucking 7 months until draft day. You might as well take a day or a week or whatever and just send a quick little post or even a personalized text or email to just these few coaches that, may or may not be still looking for a keeper, and just say, hey, I have an offer on the table, an 8th for Peterson and Calvin. I'm going to do this unless I hear otherwise.
and I understand,
but maybe Will just didn't want to deal with that.
It was, and the other side again, backing Will again. I know there's another 5-6 months or whatever, but it has been a few weeks now where there's been talks, and if someone really was interested in either of those players,
heard from them by
they
now.
probably would have said something to Will and said, "Hey, if you're going to trade them, let me know."
Yeah, I guess that's true too. That's a good point. When I did speak with Will, I don't know if I caught him at a flustered moment. He dropped a couple F-bombs. He said, tell everyone I'll go fuck off, this, that, and the other thing. And then he was talking about the fact that he's going to suck anyway next year, so what the fuck does it matter?
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know if he was drinking or high or both. But anyway, he's an interesting cat, as we all know about good old Mr. Will DeYoung. Bob, I think we've had an amazing show here.
Yes.
And we have a lot of exciting things planned for next year. One thing, Coach, Bob, that I wanted to ask you is we recently had a college football player come out of the closet.
Yes.
What was it, Sam? Michael Samuel.
But Michael Sam.
Not
sorry.
Michael Samuel. Not Samuel.
But Herm Edwards calls him Michael Sams.
Sure. Sure. And it kind of made me thinking, Bob, do you think we will have, and if so, who, a Dynasty coach come out of the closet?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty soon.
Okay. Any guess as to who that might be?
Yeah, I feel like this coach is tired of hiding it.
Sure. I know exactly who you're talking about.
And I don't even know who I'm talking about.
I don't either.
I mean, yeah. So I definitely think, and you know what? I'm gonna Bulb's bold prediction.
Oh shit!
Someone will come out before the end of the D11 draft.
Before the end of the draft?
Yes.
Okay.
So potentially on that day.
Now, does this overtake your previous off-season prediction, which is that somebody will out of nowhere quit the league, which, God, I hope doesn't happen. And it better not by this point, because you should have already told us if you're quitting.
Yeah, because I don't like that.
I don't like that either. I really don't. I was actually a little bucked at that, to be honest with you. All right, Bob. Well, this is going to wrap up this show here. Hey, fellas, be on the lookout for the Dynasty board member meeting topics and resolutions, which are always tweeted on the Riverdale Gazette Twitter page by the wonderful Riverdale Gazette staff members. And we're going to start that up maybe within the next few weeks. We might as well get it kicked off, right? Of course, later in the offseason, we'll be conducting the league ballot and the Hall of Fame ballot. So be on the lookout for that, shitheads.
And depending on whether draft day is August 30th or August 31st, the D11 draft is only about 200 or 201 days away.
That's it?
Some mathematicians would say it's 200 and a half days. It's never too early to start preparing.
That's true. This is Commissioner Scooper.
This is the Commissioner Prentice Bob Palucha.
Hey, everyone have a good off season, bitches. Over and out.